You're watching ACT.tv. I'm Julianna Forlano. The Supreme Court delivered a win to Dreamers last week by reversing Trump's illegal and immoral end to the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, the DACA program. Today on the program, we have an individual who is directly impacted by that decision, Bruna Sollod, the communications director of United We Dream, as well as a DACA recipient. Bruna is the communications director of that organization, where she's been part of leading multiple campaigns. At the age of 7, Bruna moved from Brazil to the United States with her parents and her younger sister. She is a growing voice in the progressive movement and has been featured most recently on CNN, the New York Times, the Guardian, NBC Latino, and now we're happy to have her here on ACT TV. Bruna, thanks for joining us today.
Of course, happy to be here.
It's just such good news that you don't expect ever. Under Trump, you know what I mean?
No, it's true. I mean, every good organizer knows you prepare for the worst and you hope for the best. And we were very, very excited to get the great news on Thursday.
So the court issued a favorable decision about DACA. Can you talk about the decision and what it means to DACA recipients and their families?
Sure, of course. So we got a 5-4 decision from the Supreme Court. Chief Justice Roberts wrote the opinion. He called Trump's end to DACA capricious and arbitrary, words we've heard before from other judges as the case has moved its way to the Supreme Court. You know, I think DACA recipients definitely on Thursday and our families breathed a sigh of relief. I mean, for the last 4 years, this has been hanging on our shoulders. We've been fighting to protect the program, fighting to keep our deportation protections, because number one, that's what DACA does. It keeps us from being deported. But I think we also know that although we celebrated on Thursday, we're back to the fight on Friday. I'm sure you all saw Trump tweeted on Friday saying that he would submit enhanced papers to end the program. That's because even though the Supreme Court did side with us, they really did give Trump and his administration a roadmap on how to end the program. They didn't say he doesn't have the power to end it. They just said they did it the wrong way. And so it's, you know, we're really waiting to see what is the DHS going to do? What is Trump going to do? Is he really going to go after the program before November and put us all in limbo once again? So I think, like I said, I think it's important to celebrate because, like you said, every win under the Trump administration is a big win. But I think we know that DACA is not permanent, and it doesn't mean his attacks on us won't end. So we really need to have all of us fighting to make sure that people like myself, but also my family, is protected from deportation. And under Trump, there's no way that that's a thing. So we really need to make sure that we're heading into November with a clear idea of what would happen if Trump is reelected.
Are you and your family voting members of the population? I mean, are people, they didn't put your age on the thing. So, it seems like the entire population of Latinx cultures would want to vote against Trump.
Well, so I'm a DACA recipient, so I'm 28 years old. I obviously can't vote because I'm not a U.S. citizen. And a lot of us, I will say though, who are DACA recipients are from mixed status families, meaning we have family members who are maybe undocumented or family members who are U.S. citizens. So I know that for every DACA recipient knows 2.5 million U.S. citizens. That's a lot of people who can vote and who will get to have a say in November. And I think you're right. Like, DACA is so popular. Over 85% of the American people support DACA, but also support a permanent pathway to citizenship for young people like myself. Even 69% of Trump voters who voted for him in 2016 believe that DACA should stay. So it's really, you really see his motivation, right, by attacking the program. It's not based on what the people want. It's not based on what Americans want. It's based on the fact that he just really doesn't like us and really wants to use us as a bargaining chip to be able to get money for his wall, to be able to get money for ICE and CBP. But it's not a popular decision that he's making. We know that the American people are on our side and that there's a lot of, like you said, a lot of voters who want to make sure that DACA is protected, but also that people like myself, immigrants, aren't deported from this country.
I mean, Trump is terrifying. You came over as a child and he's just going to come to your house with ICE agents, not himself, because he wouldn't dirty his hands, and yank you out of your mom's house or where, you probably don't, 28 years old, whatever, but like just take you away from your family. I mean, what is the point of him doing that other than cruelty?
I do think it's this idea that he's able to use the lives of immigrant young people to get other things that he wants, right? We saw in 2017 and 2018, once he attacked DACA, we went into a DREAM Act campaign. we were pushing for a clean DREAM Act in Congress. And many of you may know the DREAM Act is a bill that's been around. I mean, it's nearly as old as I am. It's been around forever. It would provide a pathway to citizenship for immigrant young people. He wanted to use our popularity and the fact that he thought Democrats would come to the table, but he wanted like a laundry list of anti-immigrant things. He wanted to not only get billions for the wall, he wanted more money for ICE and CBP. He wanted to go after other types of migration of folks coming in now. He wanted to go after the refugee program. So he wanted like 20 things just to give us citizenship. And he wanted us to trade that. It's basically like saying to me, like, Bruna, I want to protect you. I want to give you citizenship, but I'm going to deport your parents because of it. And you're right. That's cruel. It's completely cruel.
Unthinkable.
Yeah, but that's what he wanted to do, right? And so we know his motivations behind going after DACA, but we know it's an unpopular one because, like I said, so many of the American people are siding with us. So I think it's really important for us to push Congress too, to say, like, look, don't do these deals with him, because we know what happens when he wants to, go to the table. He just listens to people like Stephen Miller. We all know Stephen Miller's a white supremacist.
Yep.
So
I do want to thank Touring News for rating our Twitch channel with a party of 47 viewers. Thank you, Touring News, for coming in and bringing your viewers. And hello, everyone who is coming in to watch. From there, we are speaking with Bruna Sollod of United We Dream. She's the communications director there. And we're talking about the DACA victory in the Supreme Court, but that the fight continues as it somehow always does. You can win at the Supreme Court, and yet the forces of evil continue to march. Well, anyway, the court is just one mechanism by which DACA recipients and other undocumented folks should receive relief. What should we know about the efforts happening at the legislative level?
Well, we know that, like last year in 2019, the House passed the Dream and Promise Act, which is a bill that would protect not only DACA recipients, but those with TPS and DED. So it's an expansive bill, a bill that protected people without hurting other people. And that's a number one priority for us. Like I said, I'm not going to accept citizenship on the backs of my parents. And that's really important. And I'm certainly not going to accept more money for ICE and CBP, who terrorize our communities and who put children in cages.
I mean, it's shocking that he would even think that. It just goes to show that his own personality and values, he would probably sell out his parents and his kids. We're about to probably watch him throw some of his kids, at least, maybe not Ivanka, but the other ones, under the bus as, anyway, I'm kind of getting off topic, but, as he potentially gets prosecuted for the crimes that he commits, he's going to be doing finger pointing. Just the fact that he projects out there that people would throw their parents and children under the bus is, I think it's very revealing of who he is.
And yeah, I mean, look, Melania's parents came here to this country through family migration, right? She was able to sponsor her parents, but he wanted to gut that part of immigration. He wanted to get rid of family migration. So it just goes to show you how hypocritical.
Well, on that point, a lot of people want to get rid of their in-laws. I'm just, I don't want to say I'm with Trump on that one, but just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, so we're asking the Senate, Mitch McConnell has refused to bring any bill, not only H.R. 6, the Dream and Promise Act, but has refused to bring any bill to the floor. And I think what we're pushing all Congress people to do, including a lot of Republicans who have races in November and who are now saying they're supportive of immigrant young people like myself, of DACA recipients, we're telling them, like, the only bills that we would accept are ones that would help people without hurting people. And that's our number one priority to push for. But I also think a lot of state and local folks can do a lot of work. We're seeing, over the last few weeks, we've seen the courageous uprising of Black people and allies taking to the streets to demand justice for the murders of Black people, but also to defund the police. And we know that state and local officials can do those things. They can defund the police. They can push to make sure that immigrants in their communities are protected, that the police isn't working with ICE. That's one of the bigger ways that immigrants get put in the deportation pipeline, is that they have interaction with a police officer, and then that leads them into deportation. So there's a lot of things that we can do on the local and state level too, to make sure that immigrants are safe and protected in their communities. And I think it all goes back to like defunding these agencies that are meant to terrorize us, and funding healthcare, public education, things that we know allow our people to thrive.
How can our viewers support the work of United We Dream to bring full relief and support to the undocumented people of our country, regardless of when they entered the country?
That's a great question. I would ask everyone that's watching to text DACA decision to 877-877. You can put the words together, DACA decision to 877-877, and you're going to get looped into everything we're doing. Right now we have a petition to DHS to get them to open up new DACA applications. Although the Supreme Court did side with us and they said the program should revert back to what it was before 2017 when Trump went after it, we have not heard from DHS or USCIS whether they're going to open new DACA applications. We know renewals are open. So if you're a DACA recipient and you're looking to renew, we encourage you to do that. But if you would have qualified for DACA and you're not sure if you should submit an application, we're pushing DHS to open those new applications. So, come on our website, come on our Twitter, fill out that petition, make sure that your voices are heard when it comes to telling DHS what to do. And, I would say everyone should be involved with what's happening. We're 5 months away from November, and I think it's really important.
It's a long stretch, but it's also not. Is that right?
It's important 5 months for sure. Hopefully it'll go by quick.
Hopefully it will. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the work that you do. I wish you the best of luck. You can follow Bruna Sollod, who's we're speaking to. She is the communications director of United We Dream at Bruna, Bruna Sollod, Sollod on Twitter, or you can follow at United We Dream. Thanks so much, Bruna. I appreciate it. And we'll continue to follow and uplift the work that you do there.
Thank you. Y'all be safe.